Capturing holiday memories on film has always been a bit hit or miss, not least because a lot of people just aren't very good at taking photographs, still less at making movies. And what's the point anyway? Because when you got home, all they did was sit there, gathering dust. Well, in the last couple of years in particular, the gadgets we use to make and watch holiday movies have come along in leaps and bounds. In a good light, the iPhone 12 Pro Max here can take photographs that are nearly as good as those from a DSLR. And of course, storing them online on Apple Photos means that now you can dip in and look at them whenever and wherever you want. In fact, one of my favourite features about the iPad and the iPhone is the way that if you add the Photos widget to your home page, it displays a different one of your photographs at random every few hours. I love that! The question is, what is the quickest and easiest way to get good footage and/or photographs of your holiday and knock them into something worth watching? Let's find out! This year, I managed to sneak in a holiday in Corfu, where I took all of my snaps and video using just my iPhone 12 Pro Max here and a small drone, the Mavic Mini, which folds up and fits very easily into my hold luggage. Now before I start, a quick shout out for a couple I met on Corfu, Ben and Clem, who set up a company called Frangipani, making these rather natty shirts for the 4 days a year that we in England call summer. I think they're great, but then I've always had a thing about palm trees. If you also have a thing about palm trees or colourful shirts, then head over to frangipani-style.com. Now the first thing to remember about capturing your holiday memories is that, well, you're on holiday. You're supposed to be drunk or entertaining the children. Or if my childhood memories serve me right, drunkenly entertaining the children. You really don't have time to be planning a storyboard for your film, deciding what B-roll footage you need, or organising catering for the film crew. You just want to point the phone at anything interesting and shoot. Now, these days, iPhones do an amazing job of capturing beautiful, vibrant images and footage without you doing a thing. But even the iPhone 12 Pro Max can't correct for someone who doesn't know how to frame a shot. So here are 4 golden rules that'll make sure you get great, usable holiday video and photographs. Firstly, when you compose your shot, use the rule of thirds. It'll make your photograph and film so much more interesting. Imagine the frame is divided into thirds, both vertically and horizontally. If you find that hard to visualize, then go to Settings, Camera, Composition, and switch Grid on. Then compose your shot with your subject on or near one of the 1/3 lines, or where they intersect. In this footage you're watching now, for example, my eyes are roughly on the top 1/3 line. Secondly, try to make your subject fill the picture, or nearly fill it. There's nothing worse than a photograph where the subject is too distant. Unless, of course, your subject is a distant view. But in that case, frame your picture or film with something in the foreground to make it more interesting. Next, get into the habit of shooting video. I think most of us, particularly those of us of a certain age, default to taking snaps, and it can take a concerted effort to think about switching the camera to video. Finally, and most importantly, when you shoot film, shoot short clips. A few seconds worth, perhaps 10 at the most. There are 2 reasons for this. First, it'll concentrate your mind on what you're filming. Much more importantly though, it'll make it so much easier to use your footage later. If you keep the camera running for 5 minutes, you're going to have to watch the whole thing to find the 3 seconds of footage you actually want to keep. Whereas if you shot 3-second clips in the first place, you may not even have to edit them at all. Now the first thing you'll have to do when you get home is import any footage you shot on things other than your iPhone. For example, my drone stores film on a micro SD card, which I plug into an SD card adapter and then into my iPad and then import them. Next, you need to go through all your footage and photos in Apple Photos and cull them ruthlessly. until you only have one photo out of the 426,642 that you took of your family all lined up against some magnificent background. To do this, go to the main library, click Select, then tap on the ones you don't want. Then click the dustbin. And don't worry if you accidentally nuke the wrong photo, they stay in a recently deleted folder for 30 days. Now, picking the group shot where everyone is looking at the camera can be quite time consuming, especially if you really did take 426,642 photos. And there's good news and bad news on that front. The good news is that Canon makes a new photo culling app which uses artificial intelligence to select the best shot out of a series. The bad, actually infuriating news is that it's only available in the US App Store for the moment, and Canon couldn't tell me if it's even coming to the UK. Either way, what you're looking to do is remove all duplicate or even vaguely similar looking photographs and footage. At the same time, you should also make sure that there isn't any film which runs for more than a few seconds. Unless I guess it's a film of a tortoise race or something. If you need to shorten your video clips, just select them in the library, press Edit and bring the sliders in from the left and the right. If you want to make multiple clips from one longer one, then save each clip as a new video. Otherwise, just save the shortened version. Now, once you've culled your photos, together with any footage of your feet that you accidentally shot as you put your phone back in your pocket, that may very well be job done. Because there's a feature in Apple Photos called Memories, which automatically takes film and footage from a folder and stitches it all together into a bigger film, with music attached. In fact, when I set out to make this film, I came at it planning to show you how to make a holiday film using Apple's video editing software, iMovie. But actually, if you've culled your photographs properly and kept just short video clips, there's no need, because Apple Memories does a phenomenally good job. To prove my point, here's my holiday movie. I've done nothing at all with it other than cull my photos carefully and shorten my video clips, and I think the end result is very impressive. I should also mention that the rest of my family are quite camera shy and even more YouTube shy, and after 2 weeks negotiation with my wife's agent, talks broke down without me getting permission to use any film of her. So if this looks like the holiday movie of a single parent, that's why. So with no further ado, here's my holiday movie. Remember, I've done no editing at all, nothing. Just culled the photos, shortened the videos, dropped them into a folder and pressed Create Memory. We stayed at the Belle Mer Hotel. It's a great location in a secluded bay just round the corner from a village called Cassiope. And there's the hotel pool with the obligatory palm trees. The best way to get around Corfu is by boat. We rented one from Avlaki boats, or as I prefer to pronounce it, Avliki boats, though I'm glad to say ours didn't. That's lunch at the White House, the former home of the Durrells. Great food and one of the best spots for a quick after lunch nap. That's a little island we found off the northeast coast. This is Agni Beach, which had a couple of great restaurants. My favourite was called Tula's. This wonderful rock formation is called the Canal d'Amor in Sidari. And here's a nearby cliff you can throw yourself off, though if you're over 50 I'd advise against. I spent the next 3 days in screaming pain with my head at 90 degrees to my feet. This is another beach on the northeast coast that you can only get to by boat. Here's another shot of Agni Beach and the view from Tula's. This is the main square in Old Perithea, which certainly lived up to its name. I love the sign to one of the many tavernas. But I didn't think much of the hotel room. This is a very pretty village called San Stefano, where there's a great restaurant called Eucalyptus. And this was the view from up in the hills, Albania in the distance. This is Cassiope by night. Here's me waiting for Corfu medical after I fell through some pool guttering, and the very smart purple parking ticket I got. And here's the doctor stitching me up. Ready to fly home. I think that's amazingly impressive for an automated system. Quite incredible when you think about it. Now, of course, when you use a bit of software to make something like this, you are giving up a certain amount of control over the order in which your photos and videos play, how they transition from one clip to the next, and how it zooms in on still photographs. An interesting quirk is that in the desktop version of Apple Photos, there doesn't seem to be any way of sharing or editing your memory film. But that's okay. In the app on your iPhone or the iPad, you can select which photos and videos are in it. You can also change the soundtrack. You can even use Apple Music. And you can also change the duration of the film. Just click on the memory video and then edit for the options. If you want to share the film by email or to things like Facebook, just click the share button at the bottom on the left. Now, I've got quite a lot of high-end camera and editing gear that I use to make these reviews. But I tell you what, for holiday memories, an iPhone 12 Pro Max, a small drone and Apple Photos is all I'll use from now on. If you know anyone who's planning a holiday, you might like to share this with them. Otherwise, till the next time, I've been Arlo Guthrie. Bye-bye.